What's going on, everyone? My name is Joseph Reynolds, and today joining me is a man himself, Impa Kasanganay. Ahead of your bout on the PFL Challenger Series that is coming up, how are you feeling for that fight, my friend?
Man, I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on. Blessed, training's going well. Living life, exploring, hanging out on the farm today. So just chilling, keeping the bike charged. It's been a fun day.
Yeah, and you mentioned now with the traveling, I know it's something that you've been trying to do a lot more, and I believe you got the chance to come over to the UK last year.
I did.
Perfect. In terms of coming over there, what was that experience like? And then overall traveling, what do you like about it? What's your favorite things about traveling as a fighter?
Man, shoot, that's a great question. That makes me happy too, because UK is probably one of my favorite trips I've ever taken. I went to Wales with Delano Taylor. He fought in the finals last year, but when he went to Cardiff, he fought Roy McDonald, and that was one of the best trips of my life. I went. So where you live? Where in the UK do you live?
In England, up the further north of England.
Really? Cool. So
yeah.
my uncle lives in Liverpool. I have family in London. I have family all over, but I didn't get to see them. My uncle came out, but in Cardiff, it was amazing. Like the nicest people. I hired a bike. I rented a motorcycle out there, and I explored Caerphilly. Went to the mountains. Went to Ogmore by the Sea, and on the western part of the country, and then the city. And I went to I was in like the Bristol Channel. I swam in there, and it was beautiful. And then Cardiff was so cool. Everybody was so nice. I hung out all day. Like I did not sleep. Like Delano was like, "Please go to sleep so you can corner me well." And I just could not. It was just I had to see every bit of it. I met a family who has this clothing brand called Out of Sync Clothing. I accidentally rode the motorcycle onto their cottage. Like being American, I thought it was like a museum, but apparently it was somebody's house. But they were so nice that they let me come in and see their studio and see their house. And it was just, the house is over 500 years old and used to be a thatch roof. So explored some farms out there, saw a bunch of beautiful sheep. I took a nap in the mountains. I slept overnight. It's a place I want to go back to all the time.
100%. And then not only did you have the trip there and all those experiences, you mentioned with cornering Delano Taylor, obviously got the win over a legend like Rory McDonald. In terms of not only having success in your own career, but being able to be a part of other people's success that you've seen sort of come through. What's that like as a fighter to step into that other side in terms of cornering?
Man, I love all aspects of fighting. You know, whether it's fighting, cornering, training, just studying the martial arts themselves, working out. Delano's one of my best friends. We've since I came to the gym, since I came to Kill Cliff, and he's cornered me before. My first fight out of Kill Cliff when we were at Sanford, now we're Kill Cliff, and just to be there to be part of his success just makes me proud. He's like a little brother to me. But we challenge each other. We're there for each other. Like his family's like my family. So it's really like seeing like your own brother get a big victory. And then, you know, I love Rory too. We used to train together as well. And to see Delano start moving up as like kind of like a passing of the torch, especially that was with Rory's retirement fight. You know, he retired after that one. It's cool to see Delano take the mantle and just move forward and then, you know, fight for the title. And it's just like, I believe he becomes champion this year, and it's the best yet to come out of it.
Yeah, and then taking a look back at your own career, obviously there's been adversity in terms of losses, but every time you've been able to bounce back and go on to bigger things. In terms of facing those little pieces of adversity throughout your career and then bouncing back and getting this fight as well, what's that sort of been like, knowing you can overcome these sort of adversities?
Man, that's a great question. And so there's a verse that says like we fall down 7 times, but the righteous man gets back up 8. And I think a lot of people fall once or twice, and then it's over, right? But maybe like you falling is part of like getting to where you need to go. And when I got to, you know, getting into the PFL now, in the Challenger Series and earning this contract and getting this contract on March 10th, like it's just a testimony. It feels great because I'm like, I stayed the course and I'm staying the course and it's working out, because I could have said, okay, cool. I trained, you know, for a couple of years, I got in the UFC and just write it off and be like, there you go. That's it. That was never just enough for me. And then, you know, I signed with Eagle. You know, I won a fight. They said I lost. And then, so you're kind of wondering what's next. And Eagle's not an organization anymore, or at least for now. So then you're kind of wondering what's next. But then, I finished a guy who was a top UFC fighter. And then I have a couple of fights drop. And then, you know, some people call it there, like not think it's for them. And then now to be a PFL, and like, I'd love to be a PFL for like the rest of my career, you know, like for the next 11 years, I believe in me fighting. Like, it shows that staying the course is worth it. And that just having faith and trusting God, being around the right people, around the right team, that being on a new path, like Coach Jones told me after the UFC released me, it was worth it. And it's still worth it. So now every time I fight, it's just like a bonus on top of a blessing. I'm just full of gratitude.
100%. And in terms of, obviously, a lot of fighters, the goal for them is to sort of get to the UFC. And once they get there, you know, sometimes they'll rise to the occasion and they don't. And you sort of mentioned that the fall once or twice, they might not get up again. But in terms of sort of being able to find new goals within the sport and still keep progressing and striving for new things, what's that sort of been like as a fighter to see all these different doors open up for you like the one at PFL has?
Yeah, I like you, man. You're awesome. Dang, that's a good question. I got me stuck. I don't know. It's like for me when I was a kid, I would pray that I could like fight. I didn't train. I didn't fight till I was 24, I'm 29 now, but something in my heart always said that I wanted to be a fighter. I love watching fights. I love like, you know, reading about warrior cultures. And when these doors open, it shows like those prayers are answered. It's like I'm literally living in an answered prayer. Like I live on a farm, I ride motorcycles, and I fight. I get to live a warrior's lifestyle. It's not just a sport for me. So it never really just mattered what organization I was in. I would have cared before I got in the UFC a couple of years ago. It would have been fine if I was in Bellator or World Series of Fighting at the time, then PFL or the UFC or one championship. But to be in PFL, to be in this great organization, like these doors opening up is just like only saying like I couldn't have done it by myself. Like I thank God for it. I thank God that like he put my family in my life. He challenged me. The coaches that I have: Henry Hooft, head coach Greg Jones, Nick Lentz, Dieter Navarro, Coach Strout, Dr. Peacock, and I coach Kami. Like making the decision to move to a big gym was like challenging, but making those challenging choices too, like those decisions have paid off in many ways. And just having these doors open is just gratitude, joy, happiness, eagerness to fight, like a hunger to fight, like knowing I can fight actively. Because my biggest challenge, even in the UFC, for me, was getting a fight. People turning down fights. Now in PFL, that's not even a thing. Like I don't have to worry about that. And it shows the kind of fighter that I am. I'm the organization that I'm meant to be in. Some fighters love to fight once or twice, 3 times a year. I know that PFL, I do my job, like especially this year, I'll fight 5 and I'll be a world champion. So I love it. I love it, man. It's like it's a blessed feeling. None of these doors are opening.
Yeah, and in terms of, obviously, you mentioned there with the experiences in terms of the UFC, Eagle, PFL, and then in terms of the challenges that are ahead at the moment. In terms of being a fighter, knowing that you can sort of pass on your experiences and your knowledge from the wealth of knowledge being around as a fighter to fighters that are coming through, is that something that you like to do in terms of if you're already doing it, or is it something that you want to do in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I do train a kid pretty consistently. His name is Joe Diamond. He's a young amateur. He's coming up, and he's been doing well. I mean, we've been training together, and he's winning his last couple of fights. He's another one on February 11th. He's a good kid. He's a friend of mine, and like I enjoy working with him. You know, anytime a fighter has questions about fighting, management, training, lifestyle, faith, love, whatever it may be, you know, like I'm here for them. But if they're just having a bad day, and it's like, it's cool because people are trusting me now. Someone that's like a young veteran, right? And even older guys still come up and like we have just real conversations about life or how to think through something. So I believe if you're given to it, if it's given to you and you take from somebody, you gotta be able to give it back so somebody can take it from you. And for me, it's like I've had so many great coaches and people who've just poured into me. So being able to pour into the next wave of fighters, the next generation, or even just somebody who's a young person just trying to get their life going, right? Like it's something I definitely do. It's something I definitely love to do. And I just want any fighter to know they can reach out to me. Anybody, any journalist can ask questions. Anybody can feel comfortable asking me like just about life, and I'll do my best to help them.
Yeah, and in terms of knowing that you're able to give that help and knowing that it's reciprocated as well. There's people there to help you in terms of the circle you mentioned. To have the circle around you and to be able to strive to these goals as well. What's that like, knowing that you help someone, people are happy to help you, and having such a good circle that you have?
It shows I'm on the right path, right? It feels good. It feels like people actually care about you to see you grow. My coaches will have like real conversations with me about what they see in me, and then like where I'm, you know, if I'm BSing somewhere, if I'm messing up somewhere, and they think that I need to stay in check or I need to keep my life or be more organized or whatever it may be. Like my coaches out, you know, they have the heart to actually see me grow, and that's gonna pay off even like when fighting's over, when I'm not actively fighting, and those lessons will carry over to when I help other fighters. So it's a really, really it's like a different kind of love. That's what I would say. It's a very structured, very intense sort of love that I know is going to make me a great dad one day, a great husband one day. It's going to make me a great coach, training partner, teacher, business owner, because the lessons that I'm learning now are just testimonies to the people that poured into me. And I pray that now that I have like the knowledge and the wisdom that I'm gaining from it, I hope I can help as many people along the way. So it's a fulfilling feeling too, you know.
100%. And then sort of taking a look at your upcoming bout that you have at the moment, in terms of the toughest test that he's had so far during his career. But in terms of sort of looking at this bout, how do you see the fight going in terms of once you get in the cage with each other?
Sorry, can you say one more time? You said he's the toughest fight that I've had?
You're the toughest fight that he's had so far during his career.
Oh, shoot. I'm honored. Like, you know, it's like, it's cool to see some guy want to get his opportunity, right? And I've been there in that position. I'm still in that position, right? To like, I've been on a contender series before. I've been on that position where I got to earn the fight to get a contract, and I believe that experience is going to definitely pay off for me. Like I've seen where I've messed up in it. I've seen where I've done well in it, and I fought some very challenging fighters along the way, some very good fighters, for great fighters along the way, and I respect them. You know, I really do. I respect them. You know, because of course, yes, like they match you up. You maybe not get a choice, but he didn't back out. You always have a choice to back out. You always have a choice to go a different route, and he's taking it on like a man. And my goal, like kind of how I see the fight going, is I'm claiming this victory, finishing this fight, get this contract, and then after, you know, I go get the season, become world champion in PFL. At the same time, I want to see him do great. I believe he'll do great. I believe after this fight, he'll gain a lot from it. He'll learn a lot from it. And when it's, you know, later on in life, maybe we'll meet again, or, you know, put him on a different path. But I just know that's going to work out well for him. You know, he's here for a reason, and I know he's going to come bring the fight. He's got a nice overhand. He's got awesome wrestling. He gets good pressure forward. He's a tough guy. He's a warrior. You know, comes from warrior culture. I believe he's Jordanian and Egyptian. So it's cool to see. And, you know, I see me really dominating the fight, pushing the pace, claiming this victory and moving forward, and, you know, shaking hands after. And if he wants to eat after, we can. Right now, business I need to take care of. And I can say nothing but, you know, I have respect for him.
And then the final thing for myself is, in terms of goals for 2023 and where you want to be at the end of the year within the PFL, what does that look like a little bit?
Yeah, at the end of 2023, I'll be a PFL light heavyweight champion. And, you know, moving on to the next season for 2024, and, you know, staying there. Maybe I'll be a PFL doubleweight champion, whether they have a 2024 middleweight weight class, or I stay at, you know, light heavyweight. But at the end of 2023, you'll see that belt around my waist, and the PFL 2023 season champion.
There you go. Well, that is everything from myself. I really appreciate your time today. Obviously, the PFL Challenger Series, keep your eyes on it. There's a lot of great fights and fighters that you may not have seen before. But thank you for your time. If you'd like to take a chance at your sponsors, teammates, anything like that, just feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Soul City Farm. It's my home, the sponsors, everybody, family, my parents, brother and sister. I want to say thank you to, you know, Live Fit United, Luray Athletic Club, Kill Cliff Fight Club, and my team, DK Fitness, Coach Gina Navarro, everybody. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And Wagner Roach and martial arts. So, God is good. God is good, and ready to get after it. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you. Hopefully we'll stay in touch.
That's an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure we will. But thank you very much for your time today, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
You too.